Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. As often happens, I come on at the end, and because we do things Asian-style-y, we're always pushed for time. But I have always said to the team, don't worry about it, just tell me how long, I'll make things fit. And that's what I've done. Please don't stop eating, because I'm just going to share some thoughts, reflect on this evening. And I'd like to start by just saying a big thank you. Thank you for making the time to come here. Thank you for donating. Thank you for engaging. It's difficult because in a world that's always on, always pushing for the next thing, it's very easy to just keep scrolling and keep hustling. And these kind of achievements stack up, and sometimes these milestones that we have, they kind of blur into the next target. But tonight, it's been a time for us to pause, to breathe, slow down a bit, and actually recognize that what's been going on over these last 5 years is something that's quite rare. Because we're not just celebrating 5 years of Medology, we're actually remembering, thinking, considering, and recognizing that actually there's countless hours, days, weeks, and years of unseen grind that's got us to this stage. It's often about those quiet decisions, those moments when we actually think about the lessons that we've learned, the mistakes that we've made. And these students who didn't just get into careers, they actually grew in character. Today I'd like to reflect on that. I'm not going to share any meaningful insights because actually that's what I do during the day when I'm with the team from a healthcare perspective. But just actually remember why we're here, what we're celebrating, not just to say Alhamdulillah and well done, but also to ask, where are we now and what do we do with everything we've built? We've heard some incredible talks and grounding words from Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad, from Ustad Hamza, and from Imam Asad. And those words give us perspective. They remind us who we are and what truly matters. We've also had plenty of intellectual sparring, I think, talking about fatalism and victimhood and fitra and the nature of who we perhaps have forgotten who we are. So my goal's simple. I'll talk about the journey, the core values that hold us together, and some of the responsibilities that come with that, especially for those of you that are stepping into the future. I'll start with the journey so far, from recognizing the gaps and reacting to that. Medology wasn't born in a business school or in a boardroom. It started with no cash. It was fueled by dreams of building a better world. It was built in group chats, late night calls, in showing up when it wasn't easy. And when I talk about the gaps, I talk about the gap between raw potential and real opportunity. The gap between what students were told to do and what they actually needed. The gap between just doing well and truly doing the right thing. A few young people saw those gaps, and they had the courage and perhaps the time, because of the situation, to go for it. In simple terms, they just said, we can do better than this. Not because someone told them to, not because they had to, but because something inside them just clicked. And collectively, they believed they could do better. Before Medology was anything, it was a choice, a commitment, a choice to show up for others. And that's still the bedrock of everything we do. What started as sharing became teaching. That teaching became coaching. That coaching became mentoring. That mentoring became a community. And that community is becoming a movement. But the core, that never shifted. Honesty, clarity, and compassion. When I was getting ready for tonight, I actually went back and reread my first message to the group. There were two individuals, and they were sharing very sensible advice on a WhatsApp kind of study group. There were a number of these that were set up during COVID. And I was very busy at the time because I was the chief medical officer of the Black Country. But on my journey, I recognized the value of having someone that could provide perhaps a bit of guidance. So I messaged them, and not realizing, I messaged two of them independently, but they were part of this group from Altrincham Grammar in the sixth form, who, when the world was kind of going sideways during COVID, decided to do something positive and support others. They saw a world that had kind of been turned upside down and decided, if we're stuck at home, let's do something that matters. And that's what they did. And I saw this remarkable potential in this group, which is why I offered to say, look, do you want a bit of a guidance, a bit of advice? I may not be right all the time, but there might be something I can help with. And that's how my journey with Medology started 5 years ago. And 5 years later, alhamdulillah, I think I can confidently say they've exceeded any expectations I had. They've made inroads in areas I didn't think were possible, but they've held on to their values and their principles, and they've grown from just a few to nearly 100 within their team. They call them tribes within the Medology family. And I'm very blessed that they let me ride on the Medology train. So who are these people that made it happen? Well, none of this would have happened without the sheer courage of our founders. The students themselves, balancing studies and the pressures of applying to medical and dental school, but still taking responsibility for others. They're certainly not the norm, but that's what real leadership looks like. And they didn't do it alone. On this journey, they were shaped by the wisdom and guidance of incredible individuals like Imam Asad and Ustad Hamza, and more recently, Sheikh Isra'ul Hassan. When Medology visited Pakistan this year, he connected us to various organizations, to podcasters, and provided office space. That generosity makes a difference. And as you heard earlier, these are our senseis. They've opened doors that we never thought existed. Not just helping us reach places we thought were too far, but actually opening doors into our minds, into our souls, showing us who we could become through dedication to faith, learning, and service. This is the kind of quiet generosity that moves mountains. And talking of generosity, thank you for contributing to the Zubaydah Khalik Memorial Trust. It's a cause very dear to our hearts, and actually it's the reason why this dinner came about in the first place. Again, not bound by limitations, but thinking about what could we do? What next? How could we contribute and serve others? And it's not just the founders or the mentors. Medology has lasted, it's grown because of the people who just keep showing up and showing up for others. I'm going to mention a few of the team, but they're a reflection of others. People like Michael, or Professor M, as he's known. He perfectly captures every Medology moment through his camera lens. You might not always see him on center stage, but he's the one that's creating these memories that remind us of the progress that we're making. And he's one of the most sincere people you'll ever meet, and his presence truly an uplifting one. Then there's Laiba. She's now in her third year of medicine, but when she first joined in the early days, she was quite shy, quiet, unsure, not the person you see in front of you now. She has so much that she juggles. She's a carer for her two brothers. And despite living away from home, she drives across the country to every event. I think if there was a leaderboard for miles done, she would be topping it for sure. She also is now on the executive team. She helps with teaching, logistics, media, the whole stack. And that's the kind of transformation that we've seen in so many of these young men and women that kind of have joined the Medology family, the Medology tribe, the movement, the empire. But it's also about creating opportunities for those that sometimes don't have those opportunities. There's one story that resonates with me of a young individual who lost his father when he was 8, and actually wouldn't have been able to perhaps afford doing all the courses. And so one of the commitments that I asked for from the team was always think about those who need your help most. It's not about the money, it's about the impact. And this individual was given a bursary for every course. And not just that, he came back. Once he got into medical school, he actually showed us what transformation and commitment looks like. And now he's part of the team, giving back to the next generation, passing on those opportunities to others with the same sincerity that he arrived with. That's our culture. That's the real Medology. That's who Medology is. And that's the lion mindset. Grounded, switched on, ready to serve. So what's Medology really about? Well, it helps students get into medicine and dentistry, but honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's about shaping people, helping them find their true north, helping them stay grounded, stay anchored, while still reaching for the stars. Because the pressure of this system, it can be brutal. Often it rewards performance over purpose, it confuses popularity with impact, and it turns ambition into anxiety. And on top of that, as you've heard, we live in a world that often makes no sense, where leaders turn a blind eye to suffering, where victims are the ones that are blamed, and where power gets rewarded even when it oppresses. It's tough, especially for young people trying to make sense of it all, trying to stay human, yet hopeful. As Ustad Hamza said, we don't need to be fatalistic, we don't need to be victims. Medology offers another way. It's not just about getting into university, it's about what you do next, understanding your lane, your values, your purpose. A process that doesn't just prepare you for interviews, but for life, for success, but also for coping with rejection, for asking not just what do I want to do, but who do I want to be? I remember one student did everything right, no offer came. He didn't give up. He stayed with the team. Next year, he got in. And then he became part of Medology, again giving back. And that's just one story that's been repeated many times. Over 8,500 students have benefited from engaging with Medology and getting into university. But behind every student, we have to remember there are others. It's often the parents. You were there, cheering us on, staying calm, having confidence in us. You gave us time, your space, your love, without ever expecting a thank you or a shout out. Well, tonight I'd like to thank you all on their behalf, because Medology stands firm because of the strength of those families, those communities, and the values that you've passed on, resilience, sacrifice, adab. Those are the values that are the real curriculum of life. And when you include and you think about all of that, I guess it's what next? Well, next is Maghrib. So before Maghrib, I'm just going to condense it. We're looking international. We're thinking about workshops. We've done work in the UK, in Pakistan, in Turkey. We're looking at Indonesia, Malaysia, Dubai, and we're just getting started. Why? Because that's where the next wave of students are. People that want something real, they want guidance that actually lands. We're doing electives where we're actually doing something purposeful. And scroll through Medology's Insta, you'll see what's being done. Growth is good, depth is better. So we're not just here to help people win offers. We're here to help them walk away changed for the better. Grounded, switched on, ready to serve. I'm just going to close quickly. To the students, you're not students anymore, you're stewards. You're responsible for building a future so that once you go and do other things, the foundations are in place. You've been shown another way to succeed, one that's rooted in sincerity, clarity, and quiet strength. Now it's yours to carry forward, inshallah. Wherever you go, medicine, dentistry, research, or something else, carry this lion mindset with you. Stay calm when others rush. Stay honest when others perform. Show up. even when no one's watching. Leadership isn't an aesthetic, it's action. To the students, don't wait to be asked, step up, help out, take responsibility. To the parents, thank you for raising the kind of people we need more of. To the mentors and teachers, your impact is real, even if it's quiet. And to everyone here, thank you for being here, for what I think is really the culmination of Chapter 5. It was never about scale, it was about soul, and it still is. And with your help, Chapter 6 starts tonight. Thank you, and see you next year, inshallah.